Administrative work sure is full of forms. From the simple to the complex, workers in administrative roles can often be called on to fill out dozens or even hundreds of forms during the work week. Gavel does a great job of helping us fill out forms, but did you know that it has tools to help us deal with the repetition issue as well? To supply information to the example form we just saw, we would traditionally ask questions like this in a Gavel workflow. Here we've provided the basic information our form is going to ask for. We'll continue the process to the review screen and then have Gavel output the form for us. As expected, the information we provided here has been supplied to the appropriate areas of this form. Let's take a look now at a different approach to these questions, one that helps us supply information to this form specifically in a way that cuts down on having to continuously supply that information repetitively. In this approach, we'll be using a CSV file to supply Gavel with the information we need. The CSV file constructed here contains information on all of the attorneys at our firm, including their name, telephone number, email address, and bar number. We're going to start by creating a new workflow to extract this information directly from this CSV file. First, we'll navigate to the Files section from the main menu in Gavel and select CSV Files. Then select Upload a new CSV file. We can use the box here to drop in a CSV file we want to use or navigate to a file on our computer. And here's the attorneys list file that we just created. Next, we need to configure the CSV for use in our workflow. This box lets us note that the CSV file contains private data. This is important to use for workflows that are being used by external users, as it prevents them from accessing data contained in this file. In this case, we'll leave the box unchecked, as the workflow we're going to create is designed to be used by our internal administrative staff. The Unique Column drop-down allows us to select the key value for this file. In this case, we're going to select the Attorney Name column. The Display and Searchable columns allow you to designate which columns in the CSV you want users taking the workflow to be able to see and search by, respectively. In this case, we're going to just select the Attorney Name column. Now we'll save our selection and our CSV file is uploaded and ready to use. Now we're going to create our workflow to pull data in from our CSV file. Instead of asking a series of linear questions, we're instead going to use the CSV data source question type to allow users to search the attorney they want to supply information for. We need to select the CSV file that we want to use, in this case our attorney list that we just created, and then format the question in a way that makes sense for those taking the workflow. Then we need to supply a variable name. In this case I'm going to say attorney selected. OK, and then save. Our last step is to make a quick update to our output document to let it know that the variables it needs are being supplied directly by the CSV file instead of by user input. We can do that by finding the output variables and making an adjustment like so. In the first element, we're calling the variable that we supplied for the CSV question. And in the second area, we're providing the field name, the column name in our CSV. You can also use the Gavel word add-in to more easily supply these variables, like so. To complete this step, we'll need to make sure to replace the updated version of the template in Gavel. In this case, I'm going to use the Gavel add-in in Word to supply this update. Now, let's run our workflow. We'll simply need to search by the attorney's name in the search bar. Move on to the review step as usual, and then have Gavel output our form. Which you can see supplied all of our attorney's info without having to repetitively input all of the information. Beyond simple forms like this method can be used for workflows that require you to continue to supply repetitive information in nearly any use case. You can also edit your CSV at any time. To add additional information, simply add an additional row. Or removing rows to delete outdated information. In the case of columns, your forms will only output those that you call for, so it's totally fine to add additional columns into your CSV for other use cases that you need it for. Once you've made your updates, you can simply return to the file in the CSV file section of Gavel, select Edit, and then replace it using the box here. And save. Thank you for your attention, and happy automating.